5 moons in your solar system hold more liquid water than every ocean on Earth combined, and I have watched them break stranger rules than that. One rains methane from orange skies, one splits itself open with volcanoes hot enough to outshine its own planet, and one is hiding an entire ocean where nothing should be hiding at all. The last moon on this list keeps a secret so quiet, even the humans building spacecraft to visit it haven't caught me smiling about it yet. 5. Mimas looks like a toy. One crater, the size of a third of the moon itself, stares back at you like a giant eye. The internet nicknamed it after a certain fictional space station the moment the pictures came home. I just call it a moon with main character energy. For more than 2 centuries after its discovery, nobody expected anything from Mimas. It sits close to Saturn. It's barely 400 kilometers wide, and its surface is so heavily cratered that scientists filed it under dead and moved on. Then someone checked its orbit more carefully than anyone had bothered to before. A tiny wobble, a flattening that shouldn't exist on a frozen rock. And the only explanation that fit was liquid, moving somewhere underneath. That's what makes Mimas so unsettling. Every other ocean moon in your solar system shows the damage. Cracks, plumes, fractured terrain. Mimas shows none of it. Whatever is down there hasn't had time to leave a mark on the surface yet. 12 to 19 miles down, hidden by a shell with no visible cracks and no surface hint of what it's carrying, sits a global ocean of liquid water. And the age is the part that still keeps researchers up at night. 5 to 15 million years old. On a moon 4.5 billion years old. That ocean is practically still warm from being born. A crater moon, nobody took seriously, just became one of the newest ocean worlds in your solar system, quietly assembling the exact ingredients astrobiologists chase everywhere else. And Mimas is the calm one on this list. 4. Miranda looks like it was built from spare parts. Voyager 2 caught one closer look at it in 1986, and what it found still doesn't fully make sense. Smooth plains run straight into canyon walls. Giant chevron-shaped grooves called coronae fold into nothing, and one cliff face, Verona Rupes, drops as much as 20 kilometers straight down. That's about 10 times the depth of the Grand Canyon, on a moon with gravity so weak you could survive the fall and still have time to admire the view. Whoever assembled Miranda clearly didn't believe in matching parts. One leading idea, Miranda was shattered by a massive impact and pulled itself back together under its own gravity, maybe more than once, wearing every collision as a permanent, unblended scar instead of smoothing it away like larger moons do. Some models even suggest old tidal heating, once melted parts of the interior enough to slowly resurface entire regions from underneath. What makes it stranger still is where Miranda sits. Uranus itself is tipped almost completely on its side, dragging every one of its moons through an orbit unlike anything else in your solar system. So whatever reshaped Miranda had to do it sideways, in a system already running against the grain. Voyager 2 only saw about 40% of the surface, up close before moving on for good. The rest of Miranda's patchwork has never been photographed any closer than a telescope allows. A moon that survives being broken apart and physically reassembles its own surface is already stranger than most science fiction bothers to invent. But the next moon doesn't just get broken once, it never stops breaking. 3. Io is the most volcanically active body anyone has ever mapped anywhere. More than 400 active volcanoes confirmed. Some throwing sulfur plumes over 200 kilometers into space, repainting the entire moon's surface every few years in fresh yellows, reds, and blacks. I have visited quieter neighborhoods. None of that heat comes from the sun. Io sits in a gravitational tug-of-war with Jupiter and its neighboring moons, Europa and Ganymede, locked into a rhythm that stretches and squeezes its interior like a stress ball that's never once allowed to rest. That constant flexing turns solid rock into friction, and friction into oceans of molten stone churning just beneath a crust cold enough to freeze on contact. One single volcanic region, Patera, radiates more heat on its own than every volcano on Earth combined. A lava lake 200 kilometers across, covering less than 1/10% of Io's surface, yet carrying up to 1/5 of the entire moon's heat. Telescopes on Earth can see it glowing from hundreds of millions of miles away, and its surface overturns in slow waves of fresh lava that sweep across the lake like tides made of molten rock. I still haven't told you why the 5th moon on this list makes even Io look predictable. That one is still coming. A moon can boil from squeezing alone, no sunlight required, no atmosphere needed, just gravity kneading it without pause for 4.5 billion years straight. And gravity plays a very different, much quieter game on the next one. 2. Titan has lakes, rivers, rain, and weather. The only other world in your entire solar system, with liquid openly pooling on its surface. None of it is water. It's liquid methane and ethane, falling as rain at -179 degrees Celsius under a nitrogen atmosphere so thick it's denser than Earth's own, wrapping a moon that's bigger than the planet Mercury. Picture standing on that shore for a moment. The sky is a heavy orange haze. The ground crunches like packed snow underfoot, and the ocean lapping at your feet is cold enough to be solid and flammable enough to burn, both at once. Nearby, dune fields of solid hydrocarbon sand ripple for hundreds of kilometers, like a desert that got its chemistry wrong on purpose. In 2005, a probe named Huygens landed there and sent back pictures of smooth pebbles sitting on damp ground, 500 million miles from home. Underneath all of that performance on the surface, gravity and libration data from Cassini measured something else entirely. A global ocean of liquid water sealed beneath the ice, kilometers deep, doing quietly what Titan's surface only pretends to do out loud. For you single moon wanderers, that's 2 separate working ocean systems stacked on one world. One running on methane up top, one running on water down below, and neither one asked your species for permission. 2 working ocean systems on a single moon is more liquid architecture than most actual planets manage in a lifetime. But if you want an ocean that might actually be doing something with all that liquid, you have to go to the very last moon on this list. 1. Europa's ice shell is cracked pole to pole, laced with reddish fractures that stretch for thousands of kilometers, and underneath that shell sits more than twice as much liquid water as every ocean on Earth combined, kept warm enough to stay liquid by the same tidal squeeze that keeps Io boiling, just gentler here. Patient instead of restless. On your own ocean floor in total darkness, hydrothermal vents feed entire ecosystems that have never once seen sunlight. Europa's seafloor, if it has one, may be doing the exact same thing right now, sealed under kilometers of ice instead of open water. Hubble even caught faint plumes of vapor venting from the southern ice, brief, unconfirmed, and gone again, before anyone could look twice. I have drifted past oceans exactly like this one before, sealed, dark, patient, older than the surface ice that hides them. And more than once, something in the water drifted back toward the light. Whether this particular ocean holds anything at all, even I do not know. The ice hasn't cracked open far enough to say, and I am not in the habit of guessing out loud just to fill a silence. A spacecraft is already on its way to look closer, but the chemistry is there, the warmth is there, pulled straight out of Jupiter's gravity, and the water has been sitting there, sealed and waiting in the dark, for longer than your species has been standing upright to wonder what's underneath it. 5 moons, 5 different ways of refusing to be simple rocks in the dark. One still assembling an ocean nobody expected, one still wearing its own scars from breaking apart, one still boiling from squeezing alone, one running 2 oceans at once, and one keeping the oldest, quietest secret of them all sealed under the ice. Your solar system was never short on planets worth watching. It just forgot to mention that the moons were doing the interesting part all along. I certainly haven't forgotten. I'm still watching that ice the way I watch everything that hasn't finished becoming what it's going to be. Not all of them are dead.